Welcome back to The Legend of Zelda: The Complete Story series. Last time we explained how the timeline was broken into 3 paths like it is. If you're curious about how that happened, make sure you go check out the first 2 parts to our Zelda: The Complete Story series. Seriously, why would you want to jump in the middle? While we go through our quick disclaimer today, enjoy what people said when we asked them what their favorite Zeldas were. Today's question is, what do you think the saddest moment in the Zelda games are? Alright, here we go. You're probably going, oh my god, the Zeldas are connected. Yup, for the 25th anniversary, Nintendo released the official History of Hyrule by linking together all of the timelines. So I'm sorry if you have your own ideas about the direction that the timeline should be going in, but Nintendo officially said that this is what they consider the canon timelines. At Ocarina of Time is when things get sloppy though, as it breaks off into 3 different directions. If you want to see the beginning of the Hyrule world, go check out episode 1. Also remember, since each game is massively deep with Easter eggs and little plot points and subplots, we won't be able to explain everything. We only have so much time in each of these episodes, and in this particular episode, there's about 4 to 5 games that we need to cover. One last thing, while we appreciate you guys helping us out with the pronunciation, I really can't change it up when you guys give me 5 different pronunciations for certain things. So at this point, we're just gonna go ahead and say that I'm a stupid American who can't pronounce anything past cat, but I'll continue to try my best. Oh, and I do want to apologize for saying Ganondorf when it's actually Ganondorf, but you know what, it doesn't matter because at this point he's known as Ganon. Well, here we go. So what would happen if during Ocarina of Time, Link failed? I know it's a horrible thought that our hero might not succeed at his mission, but it is possible. I mean, it's not like these are video games or something and there's a big old continue button. Well, with Link's failure, Ganondorf obtained both the Triforce of Wisdom from Zelda and the Triforce of Courage from Link. Once he gained his true power, he transformed into his true form, the Demon King Ganon. As one final last-ditch effort, Zelda and the 7 sages used the last of their power and sealed Ganon into the Sacred Realm. Peace once again fell over Hyrule, except this made everyone aware of the fact that the Triforce, the Sacred Realm, and the sages all actually existed. This caused hundreds of people to want this power for themselves, and there was a gold rush of sorts for the power of the Triforce. But no one knew that the Sacred Realm was actually a world of nightmares since Ganon was locked in it. So when people went there, they just never returned. As the kingdom kept losing its citizens to this nightmarish version of the Sacred Realm, the King of Hyrule had to have it sealed forever. And with that, the entrance was sealed up, and everything was forgotten. As the ages moved forward, the people of Hyrule fell into legend as their land was filled with the people from neighboring countries moving in. With the passing time, everything once again fell further into legend, and they became nothing but stories to be passed on to the children. The stories of a hero who tried and failed, an ancient race of people who were tasked with guarding the Sacred Realm, and a great evil that was locked away. That was, until the priest Aghanim arrived. He did his research and had a descendant of each of the 7 sages. He was sacrificing them all while imprisoning Princess Zelda in the dungeon until it was her turn. Nearby, a young boy named Link and his uncle heard her telepathic cry for help. Being the last of the actual Knights of Hyrule, they took it upon themselves to set off and rescue her. But during the rescue attempt, Link's uncle was killed, and his sword was then entrusted to his young nephew, Link. After escaping the castle's dungeons, Link and Zelda devised a plan in order to defeat Aghanim and ensure the Sacred Realm remained sealed, but it would require the use of the Master Sword. But while he was gone, Aghanim managed to find and kidnap Zelda, and used her to unlock the last of the seals. Link heroically defeats Aghanim, but his adventure isn't over. He jumps into the portal to the Sacred Realm to save the maidens and Zelda. Inside, Link finds the 6 of the maidens and rescues Zelda. But his quest still isn't complete. With the gate to the Sacred Realm finally open, our old friend Ganon is devising a way to get out. Link and Zelda approach Ganon and find out that he's using Aghanim's body to become resurrected. In an epic final battle atop a pyramid, this generation's Link defeats Ganon. Now, if you remember from a previous episode, the Triforce is being kept in the Sacred Realm, and it allows a person who has all 3 virtues to make a single wish. Link, being of all 3 virtues, takes the Triforce and wishes for peace to return to the world. All the dead are revived, and the Sacred Realm is resealed, and once again, the royal family now has the Triforce and guards it closely. But not only that, Since we've entered the Sacred Realm and defeated Ganon, the nightmarish version of the Sacred Realm is gone. So everyone is happy, and we've gotten our happy ending. Now let's take a moment to travel back a bit further. Ganondorf, remember him, the original version of Ganon? He was the King of Thieves back in Ocarina of Time, who would eventually be changed into Ganon the Demon King. He was raised and placed into that position by two twin witches, who simply went by the name Twinrova. Well, following the events of A Link to the Past, the sisters realized that Ganon was still alive and trapped in the Sacred Realm. Now, having this knowledge, they've decided to resurrect him themselves, and this required them to light the three flames of destruction, despair, and sorrow. Following lighting all three of these flames, they would then need to offer up a sacred sacrifice. The same Link and hero from our previous adventure was enjoying his victory in Hyrule Castle when the Triforce began to call to him. Sensing that the world was about to be in peril once again, the Triforce sent Link to the land of Holodrum, where he was to protect the Oracle of Seasons. But Link was too late. As he arrived and began to get to know the Guardian of the Four Seasons, who is known as Din, he was interrupted by Onox, the Ancient of the Sisters. Link sets off to save Din with the help of Meku, the Guardian of Holodrum, and in the end he frees Din and defeats Onox, ruining this part of the sisters' plan. But that wasn't all of their plan. Link is set forth on his second trial to the land of Labrina. Link rushes to find Nehru, the Oracle of Ages, before the sisters can get to her. But just as he arrives and sees her singing in a circle of animals, darkness falls over the land, and she's possessed by the sorceress Vexen. On his second massive adventure during this time period, Link sets off to free Nehru. Once again getting the help from the Meku tree, who is also the guardian of Labrina, Link defeats the sorceress and frees Nehru. While Link was defeating both of these problems though, the sisters were actually lighting the Flame of Destruction in Holodrum and the Flame of Sorrow in Labrina, and used everything as a distraction. With both flames lit, they kidnapped Princess Zelda to use as their sacred sacrifice to resurrect Ganon. Link rushes to Zelda's rescue, using the power of the Oracle of Seasons and the Oracle of Ages, and he manages to stop the sisters from sacrificing Zelda. But they won't be stopped that easily, and in one last-ditch effort, they sacrificed themselves. But the problem is that they needed a sacred sacrifice that could only be the sacrifice of Zelda. By sacrificing themselves, it was discovered that this wasn't needed for Ganon's revival. So instead of coming back as the great Demon King Ganon, he's revived as a mindless demonic beast. And after another epic battle, Link defeats the mindless version of Ganon, and Zelda restores peace to the lands of Holodrum and Labrina, allowing the Triforce of Power, Wisdom, and Courage to pass on to the royal family. Link, having explored so many faraway lands, decides he wants to train and explore more. With that, he sets sail on more adventures. After what appeared to be some uneventful journeys, Link was on his way back to Hyrule when he gets caught up in a storm. With that, he's washed up on the shore of an island called Koholint, beginning his newest adventure. After quickly learning that he couldn't leave this island, he set off to find out why. A mysterious owl then appeared before Link and informed him that the only way off the island was to awaken the Windfish. It was during this journey to awaken the Windfish that he discovered the horrible truth of his situation. The entire island and all of its inhabitants that he's come to know and love, and the creatures that he's fought, are nothing more than the dream of the Windfish. By awakening the Windfish, he would be destroying all traces of this world and the people who have come to live here. The demons and monsters were only trying to stop Link from destroying this entire world. Faced with a horrible decision of whether or not to wake and destroy this world or stay here, Link does what he feels is best in his heart, and he awakens the Windfish. Thanking him, the Windfish flies off, and that leaves the only trace of the island of Koholint, all of its inhabitants, and all of Link's friends, in nothing more than Link's memories. It was at this time that the hero of Hyrule was also to be known as the annihilator of the entire dream world. Unable to come to terms with what he's done to the inhabitants, he decides to set sail away from Hyrule. His further whereabouts are currently unknown. Meanwhile, during all of this, back in Hyrule, generations passed, with the royal family using the Triforce of Power, Courage, and Wisdom Throughout the generations, though, there was one king in particular who became worried that eventually the royal family would use the power of all three Triforces for evil. To prevent this from happening, he cast a spell to make the Triforce of Courage appear on someone who was worthy in the kingdom, instead of remaining in the royal family's hand. As the king was growing older, he also became worried that his son, the proper heir to the throne, was going to go to the evil side. He felt that he may use the Triforce of Wisdom for evil and secretly pass it on to his daughter, the current Princess Zelda. Once the king passed on, with no Triforce appearing in the hand of the prince, his right to the throne was challenged, as this was the first time in generations that there was no symbol on his hand. He had a feeling that his sister knew more about this than she was saying, though. After a horrible interrogation, the prince, in his frustration, cast an eternal slumber spell on Princess Zelda. Realizing what he had done afterwards, he was filled with great regret and placed her body on an altar within the Northern Kingdom. As a tradition to ensure that this was never forgotten, every princess within the kingdom was named Zelda. While he tried to his best of his ability to revive the kingdom, though, the once great kingdom of Hyrule continued into decline. Time passed once again, and somewhere in there, the Demon King Ganon was revived. He sent his demon army to steal away the Triforce of Power. Once he had it, he began moving towards the Triforce of Wisdom, and the current Princess Zelda broke the Triforce of Wisdom into 8 pieces and spread them across the kingdom to ensure he wouldn't get it. She then sent out her nursemaid, Impa, to find the one with the Triforce of Courage. As she was about to be captured by Ganon's minions, she was rescued by this generation's Link, who conveniently was the possessor of the Triforce of Courage. Explaining the situation to him, Link set off on a quest to recover all 8 pieces of the Triforce of Wisdom and defeat Ganon. Upon recovering the Triforce of Wisdom, Link does in fact defeat Ganon once again. Thus, all the Triforces were finally restored to the land, and Link stayed for a while to try and help rebuild the damage done by Ganon's minions. But peace couldn't be had that easily. The minions of Ganon did some research and found out that if they had killed Link, they could revive their master, and so they started constantly attacking him in hopes of killing him and reviving their master. 6 years into the rebuilding, the crest of the royal family appeared on Link's hand. Confused by what this means, he brought it to Impa. The two of them followed the crest to an unopened northern altar within the kingdom. The crest opens the door and reveals the sleeping princess from earlier. Impa and Link read through the scrolls recounting the horrible history of Hyrule, and the fact that the prince put Zelda into an eternal slumber, and that is where the name Zelda came from. Filled with new determination and a new adventure, Link sets forth to gather up 6 crystals and free the sleeping Zelda. After getting all 6 of the crystals, Link faces his final challenge, his own evil shadow. Upon defeating his own shadow in one of his most epic fights, and preventing Ganon's resurrection by staying alive, and awakening the Princess Zelda, Link finally restores peace to the land, and the land of Hyrule begins to properly rebuild, and a time of happiness ensues. From this point on, we don't know what happens in this timeline. This is as far as the timeline goes, and it ends here as far as Nintendo has stated. Everything seems like a happy ending, but maybe Nintendo will eventually release more games that are involved in this timeline. Thanks for joining us for the 3rd part of the complete Zelda story. Next time we'll be discussing what happened if Link succeeded and then returned back to being a child. Don't forget to check out the Metal Gear The Complete Story series, and very soon we're going to be starting a Resident Evil one. Also, don't forget to write down in the comments down below what your saddest moment in the Zelda games were. One last thing, don't forget to go to our Twitter, Facebook, and join us on Twitch. We try to stream most weekends. Thank you, and we'll see you next time.